All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan, I'm the pastor here. It's so good to be with you on another Saturday night. We are a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. If you're with us tonight, we are so glad you're here. We call ourselves Free. We call this community Free because all the things that set us free, grace, compassion, love, forgiveness, these are the things that are so freely given by God. So we call this community Free. We are free people. Listen, if you are new with us tonight, drop us a line. I see some of you commenting that you're new. Stephen, Brenda, welcome. Glad you're here. Others of you, let us know you're new here. Let us know you're here if you're up for that sort of thing. Our home team, our free home team, would love to connect with you at some point during this week, throughout the week. And they will do so in the most non-creepy way. So if you're new, let us know. We'd love to connect. And I want to throw things over to Tava. Tava is in the house, and she's going to let us know what's happening in this community. Tava.
Hi guys, welcome to Free. Go ahead and hit share now. You'll be entered to win either 50 bucks, just like Amy Stevens did last week, coffee, hat, or what else do we have, Ryan?
Coffee, hat,
And a shirt. There we
And
go.
we're going to do a spin in just a bit. Spin the wheel.
Just a bit. All right, coming up, we have June 3rd. Wednesday night, we will have rapichis, gelato, and Italian ice, and Free will be given back. And it is going to be called Pop That Trunk. We want you to come. We will serve you and put in your perishables in your trunk. We will take them out, and we would love to fill up our local food bank, feed people, hungry people in our community. We hope to see you there.
Yes.
All right, we are on week 2 of mental health. We are super glad you're here. All right. And the most exciting piece of tonight, we have Derek Webb joining us Saturday, June 20th. It's going to be an evening of storytelling and music it'll be a conversation between Ryan and Derek. Derek is actually a 3-time Dove winner, so we're really excited to have him play for us here at Free. I'm going to give you over to Ryan, and that's it.
Thank you, Tava, for being here this evening and giving us the good news. Yeah, as she said, Derek Webb, and I've got to say a little bit more about this. He's a renowned musician, artist. I saw him in concert when I was in high school, like 2 or 3 different shows. He's been this is kind of nerdy to say. He's been a hero of mine. His music has had a profound influence in my life. Tammy and I have, since we've been together, we've been listening to Derek Webb's music. He's going to do a show for us on a Saturday night, June 20th. So mark your calendars. And we're also going to have a conversation with Derek, and he's going to tell us some of his journey and the questions he's asked along the way. And anyway, y'all, I am so excited about this. I hope you do join us. And the June 3rd event, I think Tava said this, but the gelato and the Italian ice, that's free to y'all. We just want to serve you. Again, remind you that we're here for you. We love y'all. We miss y'all. And fill up your trunk with food. Pop that trunk, and then we're going to unload it. We're going to fill up a food pantry, a local food pantry here, as she said, to feed hungry people in the community, because there are people here struggling, and we are going to do our part that evening. So come hang out. Stay in your car. It's going to be fun. All right, y'all. What do we have next, Danny? I'm a little... Celebrations. This is always one of our favorite parts in this community, to celebrate with you. So I encourage you all, take, as we do around here, take 3 minutes and give us your celebrations, whatever you're celebrating. Maybe it's sobriety anniversaries. Maybe it's babies being born. I know we have a baby born this week. I hope y'all are on. If not, I'll announce it at the end. Birthdays, good things in life. We want to celebrate together. We save the heartaches for the end. But again, this is something we do as a community. We believe God joins with us in our celebrations. We lift these things up to God. And something really profound happens when we get vulnerable with one another and share our lives together. So do put them in the comments. We will read some of them together. Tammy will join me up here, and we'll read some of these celebrations together. So take 3 minutes. Give us the good stuff. Let's lift it all up. So glad y'all are here.
See the light of a new day dawning. Feel the love from a beating heart. Catch a ride to the top of the world. This is where we start. No, we can't make it last forever. We gotta use all the time we have. And you know that we'll never say never if we ever get the chance. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Life is calling and the world is beautiful. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. There's a winding road we're choosing, looking for a brand new day. And up ahead there's an open door, now we'll find our way. There's a hope for a new tomorrow. We can dream that we'll rise above. Let me be your guide to follow, and you'll always feel the love. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Life is calling and the world is beautiful. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Seize the moment and stop right now. Play the music and live. Well, it's good to be alive. So good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Oh, life is calling and the world is.
All right, y'all, welcome back. I
Hey,
wish
y'all.
y'all could be here in the house because we're seeing these things come up on the screen and we're following the comments, and everyone in here
It's
there's-
cheering.
Yeah, everyone's cheering with you and for you. So how awesome is that?
That's very cool.
Hey, also, this is, you only have a couple minutes left to share, and we're going to do a spin like we did last week just because we want to have fun with y'all and give some swag away, some shirts and coffee and a hat, and you have an opportunity to win a $50 gift card, so that's kind of cool. So share, then you're entered into a name, and in a minute we'll draw some names with the spinning. What's that? Yeah, how cool is that? We were able to, the Stevens won a $50 restaurant gift card,
So
and
cool.
it's kind of cool that we're able to, I don't know, let a family eat dinner together and be a blessing in that way. So
And it was the smallest pizza on the wheel, the little
yeah,
pizza
they won it.
slice.
They won it.
That
All
worked
right,
out good.
shall we celebrate together?
Let's do.
All right, you want to start?
Yeah, from Sierra. My sister had a happy and healthy baby girl 2 weeks ago.
Way
That's
to
awesome.
go, Sierra. That's awesome. David says Emily's daughter finished high school and is bound for CU.
So cool.
Congratulations, Emily's daughter.
I saw some pictures that Emily posted, so that's exciting. From Sally, 30 days this week. How cool. Congrats.
Way to go, Sally. Keep on doing it. Alyssa, yes. Alyssa and Aaron. Aaron and I became parents on Sunday. Ashlyn made her way into the world, and we are so in love. Welcome to
cool.
your first free, Ashlyn.
Ashlyn.
We put some pictures up on our free Facebook page earlier this week. You can check them out there. Congratulations, guys.
So cool. Jamie, 514, celebrated 2 years sober. Wow, wow, wow.
Woo-hoo! Way to go, Jamie. Keep going, girl. Pamela says, and we've been praying for Sam. This is so
Yep.
cool. We were celebrating with you when we all read this. My son Sam called today from someone's phone. He's not sure where in LA he is. He was crying, but he called. I know he is alive.
He called. That's big.
He called. Yes. Congratulations. That's so awesome. Keep us in the loop. Continued prayers too.
Yeah. Jess, so we talked to Jess this week too, and we heard that her dad was in the hospital. And even though he's still on the ventilator, she got to spend some time with him. So a celebration and also a prayer. So we'll keep him in our prayers
Good
too,
news,
Jess.
and we'll keep praying. Yes. All right. Dion says another granddaughter on the way, due in September.
What's
How
happening
awesome
with those eye
is
techs?
that?
That's a lot to celebrate. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Congratulations, guys.
Is it Theta?
Yeah.
Yes. My son Kyle has become a believer. Prayers are being answered.
All right.
So cool.
So awesome. Mike says, just hit 1 year. Got a place of my own and paid off all my debt. Little bit of hard work and a whole lot of faith. That's what happens when we get sober, brother. We get to do this work together and good things happen. Yeah. Congratulations.
Awesome to celebrate that.
Yes.
Cindy, simple but true friendships. I love it.
Yes. Thank you, Cindy. And the last one here, and I know there's more. We're not reading them all. We just get a few out there. But Patty says, happy to have my faith and just to be alive, filled with love, peace, and joy in my heart. Thank you for lifting that up, Patty.
Glad you're here, Patty.
Yeah, we'll celebrate that with you. As a community, we get to celebrate that together. All right, y'all. If you shared the video, your name was entered into a hat, and we're gonna do a little spin because we want to have some fun with y'all. Shall I pick a name?
I'm in the middle. We gotta move over.
We're gonna scoot over a little bit, and we're gonna literally draw 3 names from the hat. First name is Alex N. All right, Alex is the first.
This is for Alex.
Okay, this is drawing for Alex. It's spinning.
Okay.
Alex gets, is that coffee? Coffee. Alex, you get coffee. So hit us up with a message and we'll get you some coffee this week.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
All right. Way to go, Alex. Next one. Pamela Less. We just heard from Pamela in the celebrations. Let's see what she gets.
It's spinning faster than last week.
It is. A shirt. Pamela, you get a shirt.
Okay.
Again, hit us up with a message. Let us know what size.
Visual of that.
Yeah, here's one color of our shirts. We have black. What color is this?
Well, it was gray.
Grayish? Yeah. Grayish, and then we have mustard-ish.
Gold mustard-ish.
Goldish. All right, last one, y'all. Last one. Here we go. It is Deborah Canaday.
Hey, awesome,
Debbie, way to go. We get to send something to Florida.
Okay.
No, so they're not in Florida. They're in Missouri now.
They're in Missouri right
Y'all are in Missouri. What is it? A hat. Debbie, let us know which hat you want. A gray one, a pink one.
She'll like pink, I think.
Or black.
Yeah. You let us know.
Your
pink to match your pink Converse shoes.
All right. That was fun, y'all. Thank you for playing. We love to have fun with you guys.
So good.
And thank you for joining me up here, Tammy.
Awesome.
We'll see you in just a bit. I'm gonna move over again. Okay. So y'all, as you know, we are in our second week of our mental health and wellness series. And we think around here that this is such an important series. I hope you think it's important too, especially during this time. There's lots of reasons to be speaking and talking about and having conversations around our mental health and wellness. And this week we are in week 2, and we want to talk about anxiety and depression. Here's a little video to get things started. So welcome to week 2 of our mental health and wellness series. And again, we just think these conversations that we're having in this series are really, really important. And this week 2 is anxiety and depression. And I can't wait for y'all. We're changing up the structure a little bit tonight, the flow of things. So Amy's going to join me first, and I want to talk a little bit, give some more framework, give what you call the message or a sermon. And it's going to be a short one, but I am so excited for you to meet Amy McMullen. She's a friend of ours. She's a counselor, mental health and wellness counselor at Blue Butterfly Counseling right here in Littleton, Colorado. And she is going to share with us some of what she's seeing around anxiety and depression in her work and what her work is all about. And again, I can't wait for y'all to get to meet Amy. So Amy, come on up and join me here at the table. All right, welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here too.
We met this week. I mean, we've known each other for actually several years,
Oh, yeah.
but we actually met this week to talk about what this evening would look like. And y'all, this could be like a 2-hour conversation. So we're going to limit it. It's not going to be 2 hours. But Amy is a mental health counselor, just like I said, at Blue Butterfly Counseling, and she specifically works with clients experiencing anything from depression and anxiety to grief, trauma, and loss. So I think we should first start with, what does all that mean? Tell us about your work and what that means in the world.
Yeah, sometimes when I say I'm a mental health counselor, everyone gets this face like, what? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So counselor, I am a counselor. That's how I'm licensed. If someone says they go to a therapist, that's me too. That's the same thing. So I do therapy with clients actually anywhere from age 4 and up. My specialty is actually in children and teens and young adults, but I see all ages. And again, I do, like you said, a lot of trauma-based work, a lot of life situations, divorces, relationship issues, really the gamut of life stuff that goes on.
And tell us, just to give us a scope of kind of some of the things you use, what kinds of therapy? I remember you mentioning talk therapy, play therapy.
Yeah, so I do
a wide gamut of things.
Yeah, and most do. So
Yeah.
that's the exciting thing, because part of it is when you see a therapist, there's lots of ways we can go about this.
Yeah.
So it's important to find a way that really works for you and speaks to you. So because I see such young kids, I do play therapy. I think play therapy is great for adults too, because I believe we all need to play.
There you go.
So sometimes I'll use it with my adults. We'll have putty and we'll play with stuff in the session. And then I also do all sorts of talk therapy, CBT and DBT, which are acronyms throwing out that no one knows, but my counseling people will know. But lots of different just techniques and mindfulness and ways to attack and really just be present with someone while they're going through life.
Yeah. So Amy, let's just jump right into things, because as I was even preparing my message for this, some of the questions that come up is, what exactly is depression? Mm-hmm. So it's different than just feeling down, or it's different. What exactly is depression, and what exactly is anxiety, and how do these things display themselves in people?
Mm-hmm. So everyone knows the terms,
right? Yeah.
And everyone has moments of, I feel depressed in the moment, I feel anxiety in the moment. But what does that mean, right? And so first of all, on that note, I want to thank you guys in particular for doing this and hitting this topic and going real with mental health, because as a counselor, a big part of my vocation, but also my passion, is breaking stigmas. And one way we do that is simply by talking about it.
Yeah, which is what it's what we do every week at Free.
Right.
Breaking the silence of addiction, breaking the stigmas. With this series, it's breaking the stigmas of mental health, and how empowering that can be for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we look at depression, typically what we're looking at is feelings of sadness and hopelessness, a lot of worthlessness feelings, and to large extents, we have, you can experience a loss of interest in doing things or motivation to do anything. For people who are really in the thralls of depression, getting out of bed sometimes can be the feat for the day.
Yeah.
Right? And like, did you eat today? Those are our goals sometimes when we're really in the thralls of depression.
Yeah.
And then anxiety, then, because of depression and anxiety go together hand in hand very often.
Yeah.
but they're also separate. So anxiety, we talk about an intense worry. The thoughts go in your head and always feeling of on edge, an inability to control the worry, because everyone gets worried, right?
Yeah.
But an inability to control the worry, obsessiveness almost sometimes, an erasing mind, inability to turn it off. Yeah, we talked about, I was telling you about the train of thought, right?
Yes, y'all are going to love this, and maybe y'all know this metaphor, but there's a couple of new, really cool images and metaphors you shared with me the other day, so I was hoping you'd share this. Tell us about the train of thought.
So everyone's probably heard the term a train of thought, but sometimes I actually think of it as an actual train in our mind. So when a thought comes in, whether that be our ex, that one thing you said that one time, the state of the world, whatever it is, the thought pops in your mind. And what we do is we jump on the train, right? And we jump on that train and we ride that train until the end, where all of a sudden we're panicking. Yeah. We're having a panic attack. We think the world is ending. We're shaking. We're having anxiety. And so one thing we like to do when we're talking about anxiety in particular is learning when we're on that train and then recognizing it and then getting off the train, which can be through lots of tools of mindfulness and distraction and things like that. And then eventually the goal would be that a thought would come in and we don't even have to jump on that train. It just goes by.
How good is that?
Right.
And I could relate to that because what I was telling Amy, coming from the addiction and recovery side is, God relieved me from the obsession of the drink. That there was a time in my life where it was anxiety ridden. I was so obsessed with it. And so it's being relieved from that obsession, being relieved from that anxiety. Man, and what a gift that is. But to think of it as a train and not getting on the train.
Not even having to get on it at all.
Yes,
right?
The train's still there, but it's going to pass us by.
And I see that a lot lately in things like going on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Or checking on the news and clicking on that link, even though it's going to make you mad, right? These political things and the state of the virus right now, there's so much going on that causes anxiety. Why do we feel the need to jump on that train and ride it down, right?
Yeah.
So we could let the train go by.
You mean we have the power to do that?
You do have the power to do that.
Such good news.
Way easier said than done sometimes.
Yes, totally.
And it takes practice, like anything. It takes practice to do it.
So I'm hoping you'll also tell us about recovery time. Am I jumping ahead a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay. Did you have more to say about?
I'll jump to recovery time.
Okay.
Now.
I loved what she said about recovery time. Again, this was something as we were sitting on the back patio, she shared with me, and I said, Amy, you've got to share this with this community. This is beautiful.
Yeah. So tying into that, so what we look at, we have a depression and anxiety, and we're talking about everyone experiences sadness sometimes, and it's warranted. We're supposed to as humans, right? We're supposed to feel anxiety. I felt anxiety coming on today, right? But it's a good anxiety. It's fueling me.
Yeah.
You know. But so when do we realize that something's wrong? And when do we need to maybe seek help or do something about it? What do we do? So one of the things, I have lots of different kind of things, length and how often we're in this depressed mood. Is it most of the day, most of the days?
Yeah, because I think that's a question people have. How do I know if I'm depressed versus, well, the Rockies just lost the series. I'm down about that. That's probably not depression, but
I don't know if you remember Josh Rutledge, but I was pretty depressed after you got married.
I do remember this. I remember this, Amy. Yes. I remember you being depressed about it.
Yes.
And terrible metaphor since baseball isn't happening right now. No. That's awful.
Yeah. So we'll talk about different ways. So one way, like you were talking about, is what I call recovery time. So when I say recovery time, I don't mean recovery in the addiction world, the way that the word means. I think of it more like how you need to recover your muscles after you work out. So how long does it take to get back to normal? So, and what I mean by that is, say, example of fighting with a spouse. You fight with a spouse one night. Does it take you a week to come back to being normal with them? Or are you able to sleep through the night and come back fresh in the morning? So there's things like that. And how quickly do we recover from events? And it can be big things like fights, but it could be you spilled your cup of coffee in the morning. Is your whole day ruined now? Or are you able to bounce back and be like, okay, be sad about it in the moment, figure it out, and then move on.
Yeah.
And so how long does it take you to recover from those things? I think the more well you are, the easier it is to recover.
Yeah.
So if it is, I mean, we do get upset. I love my coffee, so I do get upset if I drop it in the morning, but
Absolutely.
it doesn't have to ruin my whole day, right? So the recovery time and how quick the recovery time is.
So if you're a person battling depression, um, what would that recovery time? Give us an example of what that looks like. That an entire day is going to be ruined, a week's going to be ruined, the year is ruined. I mean, what's that? And I know it's hard to put an exact time period on it, but
It is, because it's very differing, right?
yeah,
And I have to tell you, our society doesn't help, because society already says 2020s were ruined.
yeah, yeah. How many
Right?
times have we heard that?
Yeah, it's over. We're not even halfway there yet, but it's already ruined, right?
Yeah, we're only in May.
So so it's in our nature as a society to look at those negatives and not recover from them very, very fast. I think it's really different for some people, and totally depending on the situation, obviously. But I think the more you talk about gratitude all the time, the more well we are, the easier it is to, first of all, recover
Yep.
when something bad does happen. And second of all, I think if we're talking about the fighting with a spouse situation, you're probably going to get in less fights anyways, because you're learning to pick your battles and what is really important to fight over and what's not, and learning to listen and communicate better when you're fighting and stuff like that. So it's really multifaceted.
Yeah. So what would be the point to where you say, yeah, I need to get help? This isn't going out for a run isn't cutting it anymore,
Yes.
or just talking with a friend may not be
Mhm.
cutting anymore. How do I know when? Yeah, I need to pick up the phone and reach out to a counselor like Amy.
Right. Yeah. So I have a couple things in particular that I list. So I specifically look at recovery time. I kind of made it up, but
I
it's
love
probably
it.
a real
I
thing.
love it. We're
It
running
made
with it.
sense of me. So so that we definitely look at with that length of time that you have these feelings. Is it every day, all day, 5 days out of the week? Is it happening throughout all aspects of your life, or is it only when you're at work?
Yeah.
Because if you're only miserable at work and the rest of your life is feeling good, maybe it's a work thing, not an overall depression thing, right?
Yeah.
Still something needs to be done, because you shouldn't be miserable at work all the time. But is it feeding into all aspects of your life, into your family life, into your social life? And that goes for depression and anxiety, separately or together. You got to look at what the impact is on your life and how it's impacting your life. Once it starts impacting your life, it's definitely time to get help.
Yeah.
And then we also look at other things that really both anxiety and depression affect are often sleep issues, right? So it could be either way. Some people a lot of times don't get any sleep or can't sleep, have insomnia. Some people get hyposomnia or hypersomnia and sleep too much. They're
Yeah.
sleeping 10 hours a day and they're still not recovering, and then they're needing naps during the day. So that's a sign, sleep problems. We also look at changes in appetite. A lot of people, when they get anxiety, lose an appetite. A lot of people want to eat everything in sight. That's more me, right? So with that goes with changes in weight. Those are definitely signs that things are getting bad. And then really focus and a concentration, kind of this brain fog, that can be a real sign of that something's more seriously going on.
Yeah. And do you think it's a thing where only the person dealing with it knows? Or, last week I shared some of my story in my 20s when I really battled depression, and I knew I was off. I knew I didn't know, hey, I'm depressed, but I knew it wasn't me. It's like I lost the me, but other people were saying things to me as well.
They were seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it a thing where do the outsiders see it, or does only the person know, or is it both, or what is that?
What do you think?
I think for me it was both, but I imagine for some people it's like, yeah, they can go outside and put on a good mask.
Yeah,
No pun intended.
there is this idea of masks, but I think when it gets intense, typically people will see. I think I would encourage you not to wear the mask all the time and to let people in on it, and then So
I've got all kinds of questions for Amy. One thing we were talking about last week was you were sharing with me that suicide, we mentioned it, and it was in the video, that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 10 to, I believe it was 34-year-olds, 10 to 34-year-olds. And you said, well, actually, Ryan, suicide is, in many of the Colorado counties, is the #1 leading cause of death with those ages.
it is.
I know this isn't a topic on suicide, but just tell us some of the ties there and what you're seeing, what's happening.
Well, it is so intertwined, right? All of this mental health stuff is. So first of all, again, I want to thank you for allowing us to speak on that. And we're going to look at, I am actually a member of the Douglas Arapaho Suicide Prevention Alliance.
That is a mouthful.
I know. We go DACA.
DACA. All right.
So we do suicide prevention, and what we do is really raise awareness around this and talk about trainings and do kind of trainings for the community and how to speak on this, not just for people in the field, but for community members and who are dealing with people every day on it. And then I want to educate you on something. Can I educate you on
please
something?
do. I need it.
So you didn't do it wrong, but for the community, I wanted to let you know that it has definitely come to saying committed suicide is not correct.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So if we say that just as to be respectful to the families and things like that, it's actually died by suicide or death by suicide.
Yeah.
So we definitely talk about that, and then talk about how it is. When you first came to me, one thing you mentioned was that you think the virus and the lockdown and the social isolation are really going to make mental health the next pandemic. And what I told you was that it's not the next pandemic. It's just uncovering the one that's already here.
Yeah, totally true.
Because it is. There's been lots of people fighting for it. It's not new that it's the number 1 or 2 in the death rates. So some things I definitely want to talk about with suicide is that, first of all, someone who's depressed does not automatically mean they're They're suicidal.
Right.
Many people can be depressed and not be suicidal, and people who aren't necessarily going through depression, have other mental illnesses or something, can also be suicidal. So I just want to dispel that. When someone is suicidal, it's a hopelessness, it's a not being able to see a way out, and often a feeling of burden to other people and a feeling that no one cares. So part of the reason I think that's important to know is that's the lie that depression is telling them, right?
Yeah.
That no one cares. So a lot of times it's like, why didn't they reach out? Well, depression is lying to them and telling them that no one's going to care if you reach out. You're just going to be a burden. So that's where it falls back on a community like us to check in, even if we think everything's okay.
Absolutely.
And to continue to check in.
Yes, and which we try to do here, even in the midst of COVID-19, trying to stay connected and check in on one another. So important. And thank you for mentioning about the language.
Yeah.
This is where, language is really important here. Even when we're talking about depression, we don't say, oh, he's a depressed person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
it's not his identity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we would never do that with people.
He's a cancer person. He's not.
Exactly.
He's not a cancer person,
yeah.
right?
So this is a person battling or dealing with depression, right? That's where language really matters. So tell us now, Amy, when we first talked, I said, well, tell us how this, the spiritual component. And the more we talked about it, it was like, duh, this is all spiritual. All of this is spiritual. There's not one compartment over here and then a spiritual compartment. It's all spiritual. So tell us, what now?
Yeah.
If you're battling, whatever it is, what now, and how is that all spiritual?
Right. Yeah. So I definitely, part of it is just my stance of everything being spiritual, but this is a disease of the body and the mind, but it's also a disease of the spirit. And with that comes using spirit and spiritual means to become healthy and to use health. Like mindfulness is a big one. It's scientifically proven, researched. Mindfulness can help with depression.
Yeah.
And we got meditation. It comes with breathing. I'm really big on positive affirmations.
Yep.
Telling yourself you're great even when you're not sure if you believe it, right? But so as much of this is a disease of the spirit, it's also a disease of the body. Yeah. So when we're looking at what can make us healthy, things that make us physically healthy are also very important, like sunshine and sleep. Vitamin D, right? Eating, actually, a lot of mental health and the chemicals you make in your gut. So gut health is actually really important. And making sure you're eating nutritious food. And sometimes for depression in particular, hygiene. Like you don't even think about that. But when you're having an off day, going and taking a shower. You can just start you over, right?
Yeah.
You did something today. We took a shower. We brushed our teeth. Just doing those little things like that. And then when we're talking about anxiety, in particular, I look at, there's a technique called grounding.
Yeah.
which is when you're anxiety, you're living in your head, right? So what grounding does is pull you back out of your head into the place you are and into the space you are. And a lot of ways we do that is by using your senses. So you can do, it's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Go around and see 5 things you can see in the room, 4 things that you feel, the shirt on your skin, 3 things that you, 5, 4, 3, 3 things that you can hear. That's what all of our senses. 2 things that you smell and 1 thing that you can taste. So that can really just bring you out of your head and bring you back
grounding.
into the world.
Oh,
Grounding.
that makes so much
You're
sense.
grounding. So
5, 4, 3, 2. When you get done, will you put that in the comments? Amy's going to interact with you, by the way, when she's done here. So if you've got questions, please put them in the comments. She will get with you. Do we have a quick question?
Oh,
all right.
Valid question.
Is it going to be on the screen? Oh, it came in. Okay, Desiree says, for those with depression, is going to
I love that
counseling
question.
temporary or supposed to be permanent? I have MDD, but I feel that I don't need therapy anymore and feeling confident without it.
Yes.
Tell us what MDD is.
I don't remember what it stands for. It's related to like your cycle.
Major depressive disorder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's a depressive disorder that well, and first of all, I'll say the answer to your question is yes, because for some people it can be lifelong, and for some people they don't need it as long, right?
So it's individual.
And just because you had it a while, life happens.
Yes.
Right? You could have it again later. So the answer is, I really come from the idea that therapy is really unique to every person. And some people need it twice a week. Some people go once a month. And if you're feeling great without it, that's awesome. Because again, that is kind of our goal. You can learn these skills to take care of it yourself and learn the coping techniques to calm yourself down when you need it and to deal with life when it comes. So not to say that we won't ever need it again. I would love one day if a primary mental health check was a thing, right? We go into our physical health and get a physical every year. What if we did a mental health check every year? That would be like a dream, you know, to have that be covered. But in general, it's really unique to the person. And some people don't need it as long as, and some people need it for a while.
Yeah. Thank you. If y'all have more questions, keep asking your questions. Amy's going to keep interacting with you when she leaves this space. So ask your questions. Give Amy your love. And Amy, tell us, how can people get in touch with you, and how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I am, like I said, a mental health counselor in Littleton. I have a private practice. I work with, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll talk about it. We have a group of other private practitioners that we work with. So like example, don't see couples, but we have people in our group who see couples and really could fit anyone. So if you are looking for counseling and would like to come to our group, I'd say definitely come to our website. It's on the screen. Mine is bluebutterflycounseling.com. You can get to me through that.
Awesome.
There's also lots of good places out there. One thing I see is people come to me, oh, I tried therapy, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to an appointment for your health, you're not going to say, I don't like that doctor, I'm going to swear off the treatment.
Yep.
You just find a new doctor, right? You don't swear off the heart treatment.
Yeah.
So I'd say keep trying a new doctor, try a new therapist. There's so many out there. You have to find a fit that works for you. And then last, I want to talk about, it's on the screen, the crisis services. I know Ryan and
we
Tammy,
mentioned it last week.
Yeah, you mentioned it last week.
And it's worth mentioning again.
And you have lots of resources on your website, I believe, right? So, but I want to mention this one in particular because it's so easy and accessible. I think everyone needs to have it. It's not just for people who are in crisis, it's for the people around them. So if you come across someone in crisis and don't know what to do, you can call them and they can help walk you through it. And crisis doesn't mean only suicidal, right?
Yeah.
Crisis means I just lost my job and I can't cope. What do I do? There's people who are trained on the lines who can talk you through it and see what next steps are. And there's a texting opportunity now for those who don't like to talk. So I'd like to mention that one.
Yes, thank you for that, Amy. Such good resources. Thanks for letting us know how to get in contact with you. If y'all want to hit Amy up for some help.
Blue Butterfly has a Facebook page too.
Blue Butterfly, check them out on Facebook. I think I liked the Facebook page.
You did.
Blue Butterfly, type it in, search it, like it. Thank you so much for being with us, Amy. So
you, Ryan.
grateful to have you as a resource in this community. So grateful you're part of Free. Thank you for being here tonight. And if you all got questions, keep asking. She is
Yeah, I'll
going
jump
to
online right now.
engage. And I want to show you all this. If you haven't seen this, y'all are in for a treat. Brene Brown, we talk about her all the time here. She's had a huge influence in my life. I want to show you all the video she put on about sympathy versus empathy, because I think it has everything to do with what we're talking about tonight. It has everything to do with Free, and then we'll come back. So check out this 2-minute video. I think you're going to love it.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you can climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. Yeah. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Man, how good is that? Y'all should rewatch that. And remember, if you're dealing with a friend, family member, a loved one who's struggling, empathy is always better than sympathy. And here, we are the wagon. We don't say things like, how you doing down there? We get down there with them. We help pull them back up. It's who we are here at Free. Now, over the past 13 years of serving as a pastor, I've noticed that when I meet with people and they want to talk about their issues of mental health, and when it has to do with depression and anxiety, they usually describe it as a dark pit that's lonely, impossible to climb out of. And they're almost always convinced that it'll be this way forever, that the dark, lonely pit is just the way it is. I mean, when I was battling depression back in my 20s, that's exactly what I thought. And I know if you're in the pit now, it feels hopeless. It feels like there's no way out. You've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And if you're there right now, if you're in the wait, my brothers and sisters, please don't give up. It isn't forever. And you are not dealing with this alone. Seek help. Reach out. I know there's a whole community of people here that will walk with you and they will love you. And now some of y'all know exactly what it's like to be pulled out of the pit, to be rescued when you thought rescue was in no way possible. I'm one of them. Maybe you're one of them too. And you know what it's like to be in the mud, to be in the waiting and the waiting and the waiting, to have no sure footing, to have no words, but then to have God and others lift you up, to plant you on solid ground, to have a renewed vision and perspective in life, to sing a new song. And see, there's a psalm. And remember, the Psalms are right in the middle of the Bible in what's called the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible. And there's 150 of them. And the Psalms are this beautiful collection of songs and prayers and poems. And the psalmist in this psalm, in Psalm 40, describes what it's like to be pulled out of the pit. And here's how he says it. I just want to read 3 verses with you. We'll throw it on a screen for you. It comes from Psalm 40. He says, I waited and waited and waited for God. At last he looked. Finally he listened. He lifted me out of the pit, pulled me from the deep mud. He stood me up on solid rock to make sure I wouldn't slip. He taught me how to sing the latest God song, a praise song to our God. More and more people are seeing this. They enter the mystery, abandoning themselves to God. And see, I love the Psalms because the Psalms, they speak about the human experience in the most honest and freeing ways. And some of the Psalms affirm God's goodness, while others, while offering words of praise, and others express anguish and deep heartache while questioning God's presence in the world. But the Psalms always speak about life the way it really is. And here the psalmist describes waiting in the pit. And y'all, we see the pit mentioned other times throughout the Old Testament, and the pit is always described as the place of non-existence. Not a physical death, but a social death. It's the Hebrew word bor, bor, and it's the place where you are silent and forgotten. The pit was often used as the place for enemies. And he's not just waiting in the pit, but did y'all catch it? It says he's waiting and waiting and waiting, and God hears the cries. Then you get this imagery of being pulled from the muddy pit, set on solid footing, and living into the wonderful mystery of new life, because y'all know if you've ever been there and you've been pulled out from there, you know it's a bit of a mystery. And you know that new life always carries with it the element of mystery and surprise. Like, how in the heck did this happen? You know, when I served as a pastor in a traditional church setting, and when I would preach on issues of addiction or depression or anxiety or any of the issues that make us feel so isolated, there would always be people who would come up to me afterwards, after the service, and say in a really quiet voice, while looking over their shoulder to make sure no one's listening, they would say, "It felt like you were talking directly to me." And it was said in a sense of a thank you, but it also had this feel of confession. Like, nobody knows this. I've kept this a secret for years, even decades. And y'all, that's when you know shame is setting in. If you've kept it in as a secret for years, it's a sure sign you're living into the stigmas. And I think there's a better way. You know, on Sunday morning of just this week, our prayer team received an email. And I don't generally share these emails, and very rarely would I share an email like this in public in a community setting. But later in the week, as I thought about this email, I called this person and I asked them if I could share it, because I think this person's courage and vulnerability gives others solidarity and hope. And it describes so perfectly why we're doing this 4-week series on mental health and wellness. And the email read, and see if you can hear a sense of Psalm 40 here, the sense of being in the pit, but then being in a place of solid ground. Here's what the email says. Good afternoon, prayer team. During last night's service, so this would have been last Saturday night, during last night's service, Ryan stressed community during Mental Health Month, especially as we deal with the stresses of the pandemic and the challenges it presents. I wanted to reach out and ask for prayers for my mental health during this time. I live with a mental health and have since 1996. I would go so far as to say my heart was hardened early to the idea of opening up to the community because of the stigma, but also because of the shame I felt being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Last night's message inspired me to reach out and ask for prayers from the free community. Prayers that I may continue to find peace, follow my treatment program, stay connected, and continue to be willing to let God into my life to do the healing that I can't, and my medicines and therapy can't do alone. I was particularly moved by the way Reverend Ryan spoke to mental illness in the message last night. Never before have I heard a message in church where mental illness was isolated out, spoken to compassionately, and given front and center stage, and will have that stage for the next 3 weeks. I was moved to tears a couple of times last night because the subject hits so close to home. I've been battling this for so long, but I am finally getting to a place where I am not battling anymore, and it feels good. Yes, some solid ground through God's help in the community of people and the community of professionals. Y'all, I want to tell you about Anne Lamott's book. Anne Lamott, she's an author. I highly recommend everything she writes. She wrote a book, and I highly recommend it. It's called Help, Thanks, Wow. And she says these are the 3 essential prayers. Help, she says, is the first great prayer. It's the cry we deliver into the darkness of depression and despair, and it's oftentimes the only word we have left. It's that vulnerable moment where we become open to the divine. And then thanks, that second prayer. It's a prayer of gratitude. You're deep in the pit, but then you grab onto the hand reaching out, and you begin to climb out of the pit. You start to see glimmers of light, and you're muddy. You're tired, you're weary, but you somehow have hope again. And thanks is the only word on your lips. A word that you might not have said in a really long time. Thanks, God. Thanks, friends. Thanks, family. Thanks, doctors. Thanks, therapist. Then finally, you know that feeling you get of coming home? That sense that life is new again, not perfect, but new? The prayer becomes, wow. And it's often a whisper, but it comes from the deepest place within. It's the only word you have to describe the newness. Shame becomes a thing of the past. Darkness, despair, depression didn't have the final word. Wow. God is still active in the world. And let me remind y'all, 1 in 5 people in any given year will battle in their mental health. Help, thanks, wow. They are your prayers. Pray them. Use them. Embrace them. So I want to close this evening with a few words from a fellow pastor who talked about the pit of depression, the pit of despair. And here's what he said. I think we'll throw it on a screen for you. He says, depression is a biological disease. It is not caused by a lack of willpower or desire to be well. You can't simply run away from depression, smile your way out, or wish your way out. You need help to get out of the pit. Here's my hand. Take it. Take the hand of your friends and family. Seek help. Seek treatment. Seek God, but I beg you to seek. With every ounce of power still left in you, look up. Look out, step up, step out, reach up, reach out, come up, come out. Find a way out. God knows there is sunshine sometime and somewhere ahead of you. Speaking of reaching out, reaching up, we end our evenings here at Free, towards the end anyway, is our heartaches. We do heartaches together. We lift these things up. We take our burdens because we realize that they're too heavy to carry alone. So we offer them up in community. And just like with celebrations, something really profound happens when you are vulnerable enough to share your burdens, your heartaches, the things weighing on you, to share them in community. And we believe that God joins with us in this process. That's why we lift all of these things up to God. And y'all, I do want to tell you, you saw it in the email, we have a prayer team here. And this prayer team, if you make a comment, if you comment in the comment section on this live video or even during the replay, someone will reach out to you. And I want you to know, not just me or not just this team, but this community, y'all do it the best I've seen. Seriously, you guys carry each other. You walk with one another. You love one another. And we pray for one another. So take 2 minutes and share your burdens that you're carrying so we can carry them with you. Take 2 minutes and then we'll come back. All right, y'all, we're back. And just like when we were celebrating just a few moments ago, we were all like in this room clapping for y'all and sharing with y'all. Well, we experienced grief and heartache with you guys, just reading through some of your comments. So let's just read a few of these. You want to start, Tam?
Sure. From Katie, my car's transmission went out last Friday. Then my entire house flooded that Saturday. There's a couple in this community that's happened to this week. Dang it. Mother's Day was spent throwing away most of our stuff. Demolition on ceiling, walls, and floor finally starts tomorrow after a week of fans nonstop. My faith is strong and my mind is clear, but I could really use a hug in these quarantine times.
Big
Yeah.
old air hug to you, Katie.
Man, sorry,
Prayers
Katie.
for you. Jordan says, prayers for Eric that God would provide strength physically, spiritually, mentally as he detoxes off of methadone.
Yep.
Prayers for you, Eric, and for you also, Jordan. Thank you for lifting that up.
Yep. Karen, prayers for Kelsey and her daughter, whose husband/father Max died by suicide from battling benzos withdrawal. Dang.
So sorry to hear that. Prayers for the family. Pamela Less says, keep on praying for Sam, please.
Yes.
You know we will. This community has been praying for him for months, and we're going to keep on doing it.
Melissa, we lost a dear friend to addiction last night. Ben, we love you.
Sorry to hear that, Melissa. I know you have you've experienced a lot of loss to this ugly, ugly disease. So prayers for you and prayers for Ben's family.
And I think there's
grieving the
people in this
loss.
community that know Ben. So yeah, sorry.
Cindy says, prayers for my family. It's been a rough week. Cindy, we are keeping your family in prayer. We received your email, continued prayers.
Yep.
Thank you for lifting that up.
Tina, I have doubts I will ever fully trust God again after my marriage dissolved. Thanks for sharing that,
Yeah,
Tina.
thanks for sharing that kind of raw vulnerability. And this community embraces doubts.
Yep.
We don't run from them. Sierra says, I know someone who relapsed recently and is dealing with a lot of shame and embarrassment. I pray they stay the course and move forward with their sobriety journey. So do we. We
Absolutely.
pray the same thing. Thank
Yep.
you for lifting that up, Sierra.
Hey, Brenda, facing second heart surgery in a few weeks. That's big. And thank you for sharing that. We'll be praying for you.
Prayers for you, Brenda. Jamie says, those still suffering from active addiction and their children, we lift those with severe depression. We ask for strength to our prayer team.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jamie. You are faithful in lifting them up, and we always appreciate that. We pray that with you.
Yes.
Shall we do one more?
All right, Landon, praying the Lord continues to cover us all, heal, comfort, and strengthen those who have lost loved ones during whether it be from sickness or in all the senseless violence going on in the streets.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Landon.
Landon.
Appreciate you, brother. Glad you're here. All right, y'all. Thank you for it. You can keep giving heartaches and burdens you're carrying. We will continue to pray with you. And you don't have to stop just because this moment is over. You can keep sharing. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. I want to invite, Lou is in the house. And, you know, I tell the wagon story so often that Lou was sitting there and said, Lou needs to tell the wagon story because it's been a while. Lou, tell us why the wagon is the central image. Don't fall off the stool. Tell us why it's the central image in this community. Give us the good word.
Oh, man. First of all, it's good to be here. What a great night. Amy, thank you. I can really relate when things are spiraling out of control and I spill my cup of coffee and it can affect me
Yes.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you don't know how to get out of it. But when you were talking about that and you asked me to talk about the wagon, speaking of, I do have a story. There's a tattoo.
Of a wagon?
Of a hand.
Oh.
It's the hand, I got it because it's the hand that pulled me from the pit.
Oh, my goodness. I remember
it's
this.
the hand that came down from the wagon and grabbed me.
Sweet, dude.
So
I love that.
Yeah, I got a little emotional about that.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that. Anyways, forget that.
That's all right. Emotions are welcome here, man.
Yeah. So the wagon. So you guys know I love the wagon. I'm gonna make a shirt. # they fall off.
It's coming.
we're gonna sell it. But as Ryan, when he was studying ministry, he went out to L.A. He went to the largest rescue mission in the world, and they took him around to the museum. And in the museum, he saw this wagon, and he asked a story. He said, "What's the wagon for?"
Tell us.
Right? And so back in the late 1800s, in L.A. At night they used to load this wagon up with food and clothing and water and Bibles, and they would take it into the deepest, darkest parts of L.A. where there were homeless people there, and what they would do is they would hand out food and water and clothing and Bibles and hope is what they would hand out. And so when on their way back, what they would do is they would pick up anybody who wanted to go to a place of safety, anybody who wanted to go to a place that offered hope, grace, and compassion, and what we do here. And, as they say, when you get a bunch of drunks and a bunch of people on a wagon, what happens?
What happens, man?
They fall off. You know what? But that's what we do. We reach down and we pick them back up, and we bring them to a place of safety and a place of hope and a place of where they can find something that works for them. And so that's God, I'm choked up.
That's all right, dude. Dude, that story with your arm, that's powerful.
I just, especially when they're talking about the pit.
Yeah.
The pit.
Down in the dark. Yeah.
I've been there. And it's a scary place.
Yeah.
So.
And thank God we get out of it together. We're the wagon together. We don't kick our wounded. We reach down and we get in the pit together and pull each other out.
We don't shame. We don't judge. And that's what I was afraid of when I walked in here.
Yeah.
Even though the way I thought is that people would shame and judge me.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet.
And we're not gonna. We don't do shame in this place. Thank you, Lou, for being here. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for sharing that story. So y'all know on the wagon we keep a donation box scattered throughout free. We keep donation boxes. What's that? Oh, I need to center up. That's right. Thank you, Lou, for being here.
They're just kicking me out.
We keep donation boxes scattered throughout here, and truly, and I say this every week, and it's the truth, your generous giving is what keeps this ministry open and thriving, even in the midst of COVID-19. And we are so grateful for your generous giving, and we realize it is a spiritual practice. It's not just something you do out of guilt and shame. It's something you do because it has become a spiritual practice. Thank you for that. I want to let you all know there's 2 ways to give in this community. First, you can just simply text the phone number that's coming up on your screen. It's really easy, safe, and secure. Text this number, and you can put any number in there. Type in Be the Wagon, and it will come back with a message, and then you can do any number you want in there. No donations too small. Or you can go to our website, freespiritualcommunity.com, and hit the donate button, and you can give that way. Another safe, simple, secure way to give. Again, no donations too small. Your generous giving is truly appreciated here. All right, y'all, it has been so good to be with you tonight. If this topic has spoken to you, if what we do here at Free, if tonight has spoken to you, share this video with others. Let others in on the hope. Don't keep it to yourself. All right, the way we're going to end tonight is by closing in a prayer together. We're going to close with the Lord's Prayer. We close many weeks this way. So let's close with the Lord's Prayer. Do I need to scoot over a little bit? There we go. Can we put it on the screen, Drew? I'll just scoot over. How about that? Am I good? All right. Sorry, y'all. We're messing. We got some new things going on tonight. A new team of people, and it's all good. So let's close with the Lord's Prayer. It goes like this. If you don't know it, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So good to be with you all tonight. Grace and peace to you all in the journey. If you're dealing with issues of mental health, if you are struggling, if you love someone who is struggling, so much grace and peace coming your way this week. All right, y'all, take care.